Could be the world's greatest movie critic, and he's ours every Friday. Good morning from ABC News, David Blaustein. Good morning, David Blaustein.
Good morning, McGraw. Good morning, Kelly.
Hello, David.
Any comments on the Cubs winning the World Series?
Yeah, I'm happy for them. I think as a baseball fan, unless you're an Indians fan, you would be happy for them. It was a great moment in baseball, and clearly one of the best games in baseball history, with one of the best finishes in baseball history. So those would be my comments. It's hard. It's still hard for me as a Mets fan to root for the Cubs because, I go back to the National League East days when the Cubs were there.
Yes.
And so I grew up hating the Cubs. It's like I have a hard time rooting for the Cardinals, too, for that same reason. I mean, the Mets have more history with the Cardinals now.
Right.
Anyway, our history with the Cubs is a little better because the Mets did sweep them in 4 games last year, and I think they would have beat them again had they had a healthy pitching staff. But I'm happy for them, and I know a ton of people from Chicago. All my in-laws, even though they're all White Sox fans, they still have a lot of friends in Chicago who are Cubs fans. So good for them.
All right, let's get to Hacksaw Ridge. A lot of attention during the World Series. Fill us in. What's it? What good, bad, ugly? What is it?
Well, the most notable thing about this movie is it's sort of a comeback for Mel Gibson because it's the first movie he's directed in 10 years, and are people going to let bygones be bygones, or are they going to forgive him for the things that he said while he was very, very drunk, as awful as they were, about women and about Jewish people? That's up to you. But one thing is for sure, Mel Gibson knows how to direct a movie, and he chose a story that's an incredible story and a story that needed to be told, and that's about one Mr. Desmond Dawes. And Desmond Dawes, if you don't know, and most people don't know, was the first Congressional Medal of Honor winner to be a conscientious objector, and this happened after World War II. He was a Seventh-day Adventist, didn't believe in violence, wanted to serve his country, and he wanted to go over into the Pacific Theater and be a medic. But, that didn't necessarily sit well with the Army at first. And then just Google, all you have to do is Google his citation, and you're going to be astonished what this man did. And Mel Gibson's rendering of it is borderline terrific. There are this movie is not great. It's very, very good, though. There are a few things that Mel Gibson did in this movie that prevented it from being great. He really wanted to make the violence realistic, and he certainly did, and I applaud him for that. But he also crossed the line a few times where it went from realistic to gratuitous, and he probably could have reined that in a little bit. But he does it in other ways. He also does a very good job of making war a very sobering, realistic prospect, and it's scary. Then you have Andrew Garfield, who plays Desmond Dawes, is unbelievable. He's just a terrific actor, and so there's a lot of good in this movie, and highly recommend it. 4 out of 5 stars.
Is the last time he directed a movie, was it Braveheart or was it something else?
No, I want to say was his last movie Passion of the Christ, I think he did a movie after that.
Yeah. Well, Braveheart, he directed. That's one of the best movies ever made.
Oh, that's a terrific movie. I mean, Mel Gibson, he clearly knows what he's doing, and he's an Oscar-winning director. And as the kids would say, he knows how to make you feel all the feels. And it was Apocalypto as the last movie.
Oh, okay. All right, good. Is Vince Vaughn in this movie, too?
Vince Vaughn is in this movie. And, that's also one of the weaknesses of the movie. It's not Vince Vaughn. It's, Mel Gibson is by nature a funny guy, even though a lot of people now look at him as not funny because of the things he has said. But as an entertainer, he's done a lot of things that were funny, and he has great comedic timing. And sometimes he injects humor into his movies. And I think what happened here is kind of a failed attempt to inject humor in this movie, particularly when we meet all the people in Dawes' platoon. It was kind of like some people might appreciate this. It suddenly became a Neil Simon play. It suddenly became Biloxi Blues.
Right.
And it was just, it just was really out of place. It was incongruous with the rest of the movie, and that took away from the overall quality. But still, this is a movie you should absolutely see.
It was Africa Hot.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Trolls. What's Trolls? What's that one about?
Trolls is an animated film from DreamWorks, and it's really driven by Justin Timberlake's ability to pick out music and co-write music and perform it because he's one of the voices in this, and Anna Kendrick. And there's a lot of singing in this movie. And it's the trolls, those trolls we grew up with, the trolls you put on the end of a pencil, or the trolls that you gave to somebody, a little like a 4-inch troll doll with the big hair, and it said "Merry Christmas" on it, or "Happy Hanukkah," or "Happy Birthday." Those trolls.
Oh,
They're
not the
animated.
trolls
They
on
come to
social
life.
media.
Yeah, not the trolls on social media.
Not about trolls on social media. No, these are happy and joyful trolls, not miserable, awful trolls who want to suck the life out of you and hurt and kill your soul. Not those trolls. So this is really an unbelievably adorable and joyful movie that your kids are going to love. You're going to like it. There are a lot of familiar songs in it. There are some new songs that are very good, too. And this isn't going to, it's not going to be Frozen big, and, there's no Let It Go in this movie, but there's at least one song in this movie that I envision being part of many childhoods for years to come. There's at least one anthem in this movie, and it's one of those things that kids are going to see and they're going to want to see over and over again. I took my kids. That's a good way to judge it. I took my kids to see this 2 weeks ago, and I was a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and they immediately wanted to see it again and have been asking me every day to see it, and they both knew it came out today. And when they got up in the morning, the first thing they asked me is if we could go back to see it. I mean, it's that good. I mean, it's particularly for the kids, but I think there's something for the adults to enjoy too. So that's 4 out of 5 stars. All the movies coming out this weekend nationally are 4 out of 5 stars. The other one is Doctor Strange. This is the most visually stunning Marvel movie to date, and I guess the visual palette I would compare it to. It's like a cross-pollination between the Matrix and Inception. And I highly recommend, and I don't normally do this, we talk all the time, and I don't normally say this, but this is one of those movies I highly recommend you see in 3D, because it's pretty much jaw-dropping in that respect. The quality of the movie is good. It's a solid movie. It's going to be familiar to Marvel fans in the sense that Doctor Strange is very much like Tony Stark. They're practically the same person. They're just played by a different actor. Benedict Cumberbatch, who plays Doctor Strange, has a huge female fan base, and maybe attracting there may be a new audience coming to Marvel movies just to see him alone. Although, in fairness, a lot of his fan base are those fangirls, which would be the equivalent to the fanboys. And maybe then some, but if this is a movie you're looking forward to seeing, you're probably going to like it. It'll be a little familiar. It's not the most original Marvel film, but visually it's the most stunning Marvel film. This one's also 4 out of 5 stars.
David Blaustein, have a good weekend. Thanks.
Take care. Bye.
829, Big 550, KT.